you know, those kinds of experiences bring, you know, some needed skills, and it's important that I just provide that for you. So we're going to stop here and make sure that you follow the account, either in Facebook or TikTok. In TikTok, it's Passive Income Friend. On Facebook, it's Ilima Hong. I also have a group in there that you could see. And mainly, it's just to share this kind of information about, mainly about passive income and methods to improve your financial health, as well as improve your wellness, because I feel those two have to go hand in hand. They have to be addressed together in order for you to see really long-term health, wellness, and wealth. By following too, you also get to see when I have another live, or if I have any events planned coming up very soon, to just share more passive income opportunities with you, or methods to continue to improve positive mindset, and just how to really enjoy your life. Please share this event, this live event, with your friends as they can watch it again, live or replay. I'll still continue to monitor the comments. Here we are. Hi. Hi, Jade. Fan. Hey there. Colin Woman. Jessica with AAA. Morata. Thanks so much for jumping on. By commenting and engaging, you know, here, stay to the end because I'm going to share a free ebook with all of you. Mainly because it's going to sort of reinforce what I talked to you about today, about my story. It'll help reinforce, and maybe it'll help you overcome some of the challenges that you might have faced. So here I am today. I'm 52 years old. You know, I have a career that I've developed. You know, like many of you, I've climbed the corporate ladder. You know, I took the certifications. I invested in the additional education. We all do. We figure, okay, I need the training to, you know, prepare myself for these higher level positions in leadership and communications, right? And of course, you commit to these goals, right? You you believe that's what you need to be doing. You need to be studying those extra courses in your in certifying your skills, whether it was, so for me in human resources, it was additional certification in society of human resources. You know, that was important. It showed credibility in my job and to my boss and to my bosses. I was actually a human resources director in a medical clinic, so I didn't just have one boss. These physicians were shareholders, so I had 30 bosses, and I wouldn't recommend that to anyone. But, and it was challenging in itself, right? Let's see what we're saying here in the comments. Great. Following. Okay. So if you're like me, you're in business, and you know you knew you just had to get some extra training to prepare yourself better for the higher demands of positions that or promotions that you might get. Then after that experience, you know, I went ahead into education, and I found that that was very rewarding and fulfilling. You know, I come from a small community that, you know, thrives on knowing one another, supporting one another. Hey, Alfonso. And when you're in a community that thrives on that, then it can be so fulfilling to know you're helping students and families in their education. And I started off in school counseling because of my human resources background. That really helped a great deal. In human resources, I was in employee relations and conflict management. So there's a lot of, if you work in the business field, you know, in the office, there's a lot to interact with. There's a lot for everyone to improve their interpersonal and communication skills, because oftentimes conflict that happens with one another in an office setting or at a job place is mainly because of communication. You know, saying something in a certain tone or at a certain timing can reveal or can be interpreted in so many different ways. So my job in human resources at that time was to mediate that, navigate that for one another, and help people just really have more harmony so that they can get their job done, when that makes sense. So that was a pretty easy transition to go into education. Here in one of the comments, oh, Jade fan, I'm sorry, I hope I'm saying your name right. You're so confused about your future. You know, at age 26, that's just a phenomenal time for you. I'm not trying to lessen the confusion or concern you have, or fear for that matter, you might have at this time in your life. But it's also still a time for you to discover who you are, okay? In human development, there are phases that we all go through of development. Yeah, from childhood to teenage, adolescent years to young adulthood, and even there's even more development going on in your 30s and 40s and 50s. So the best thing I've always just told my students, and many of them were 18 already, going into the next phase after their high school, you know, was to just be aware of what makes you happy. Yeah. What is something that makes you laugh, makes you feel good? Could it be, you know, the time you go to Starbucks? You know, maybe that's an area you'd like to see a future in. I don't mean just Starbucks, or any coffee place or any routine that you go through maybe in the morning that brings you joy. And when you identify maybe those things that bring you joy in your day, those that's also maybe your passion speaking, and that could be something that you could find gainful employment in, right? In the end, as I've told my adult children, right, you're going to need to learn how to provide for yourself, right? Mom and dad are not going to be here forever. And so you have to not only find something to provide for yourself, but something that is meaningful enough that allows you to be engaged in it and communicate in it and still find happiness. You're welcome, Jade. I hope that helps. And then thanks for joining, Nevin Johnson, Southern Logger. Thanks for joining. You know, we're just talking about how I just wanted to share with Jade Fan. She's feeling lost at the moment or confused. You know, I help employees in my previous job start to navigate their career development, and I've helped in education. I help students, you know, try to also identify. It's sort of like an interest survey. So they also identify what they're interested in, what they're passionate about, you know, that sort of thing. When we are talking about that, I do find that a lot of it is helpful, but I always end up suggesting to them that it is again their journey, right? I don't mean to, it doesn't mean that I'm just leaving them on the road and they just walk alone, but it has to be something that you're willing to kind of look within yourself and see again, what is it that makes you happy? What is it that makes you sad or upset? I actually posted something, or I just posted it this morning. A message that I wanted to get out there to everyone, you know, just about what are the three qualities that successful people demonstrate. Okay, and I'll just stop here to share that. Go ahead and look for the video again, but I can pretty much summarize it here. And I thought that the three common qualities I see in successful people are Number one is they don't give up, right? They have a tolerance for being uncomfortable, and we all get uncomfortable. Um, I can't think of a lot of examples, but you're in your job and your boss or you've been asked to proceed to do something towards the left instead of the right. Yeah, you've prepared maybe a report and they need you to change it, right? And you put in a lot of time maybe in the report. That's uncomfortable, right? When you're giving feedback or you're being put in a different direction, that creates a lot of discomfort for people. So that's an example. Or if you're going along your day, even if you're a student, and you get feedback, you get scrutiny, or you are in an exchange in a conversation that's just leading, to somewhere you're not comfortable with. Well, aside from it being harmful, I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about everyday sort of occurrences where we're challenged. So, the number one quality most successful people, all successful people have, is they understand the discomfort and they still push through because they're very clear on their goals and they're very driven to succeed in those goals. So the second quality that I also noticed in very successful people is the ability to manage emotions. And so we are made of, okay, I'm just going to go into this whole thing. We're made of energy, right? This is what I believe. Energy all around us, everything's made of energy. Our lights, our fans, our table, us, ourselves. But what drives us as humans that differs us from maybe a light stand or a fan is that we have this emotional matter in us. And it is very powerful. It speaks to your passion. It makes you happy, thrilled, ecstatic about something. It also makes you furious, resentful, revengeful. It just drives so many things in you. However, a successful person, again, doesn't have to be a business person, but a successful person, significant person, is one who manages that. They understand that these emotions are there in us, that makes us different as humans from, anything else. Um, that they understand it's there, but they don't let themselves react to the emotions to ultimately make business decisions. Okay? And there's ways to help you understand those emotions and get through it. Okay, so that's number two. And sorry, the third one is focus. Okay, I'm guilty of this too, and it's something you have to work on. If you cannot focus, on a task right in front of you, I'm sorry, I'm going to fix a task right in front of you for a certain amount of time, more than 5 minutes for sure, then you're going to struggle. That's going to be difficult for you to succeed, right? Because maybe you have two out of the three. Maybe you're clear on where you want to go. You're okay with discomfort. You're okay to just kind of move and zig and zag because of what you're being guided to do. Or maybe you can manage your emotions. Maybe you're able to be more logical in your decisions and you can just kind of put some things aside for now so that you can make the best decision. However, the third one is focus. And if you can't sit still or sit on a task, you could be standing, mechanics, auto mechanics, mechanical engineers, or people who work with their hands, hairdressers, nail salons. I mean, people who work with their hands on like a mechanical method of their work, they have to stick with it. Okay? They have to stick with it till it's done. And no different than maybe a person in an office who has to finish a report, has to find the missing, $50 in the Excel sheet, find the missing $50,000 in an Excel sheet. They have to sit there, manage, reconcile, add things up, subtract them, maneuver things, and sit there till it's done. It's focus. So we may all have one or two of those qualities, and maybe we even have demonstrated three at the same time, but we can't sustain it, right? You have to be able to sustain at least those three fundamental qualities that successful people have and demonstrate daily. And it's a work in progress. So, for the most part, I also noted in my TikTok video that it's just potential, right? You have the potential to develop those skills and qualities. It's going to take a lot of your own commitment to build. So, as I was mentioning here on my journey, this is also, before I continue, also a good time for you to maybe turn on your notifications or continue to follow my account if you want to get more information on passive income and wellness. Again, like I mentioned before, I try to have my message because it's me. I believe in those two, definitely two aspects of our lives, that they have to be in balance for us to have real success and fulfillment. You could have the wealth and not have the mindset of overcoming things, and then you lose it. You lose the wealth. Or you could have, of course, the health, the mental health, that you need to just be secure and confident, but you're needing the additional income, right? So you need success in both ways. Okay, Jade. The last one, those were the three, right? Don't give up, right? You got to be okay to be uncomfortable. Oh, number two is manage your emotions. And number three is focus. So that was one of the comments. Let me check on this end too, if we have any comments. Again, please share this with your friends. Go ahead and hit the share button, the save. I continue to monitor the comments. And hi, Jacob Alvarado. Hey there. Thanks so much for joining in, waving. Can I wave back? Okay. Following my account will also give you the notice if I'm going to go live again or if I have any other events. I'm going to do this live check-in with all of you every Wednesday at this time. Yeah. So this is 2 p.m. Eastern. So every Wednesday I'm going to definitely try to do this and meet up with everyone. And so, oh, that's so awesome, Jade. Now you can have a good sleep, right? If you have some strategies, now you can have a good sleep. I'm going to give you also an ebook, okay? So stick around. I got to make sure I'm able to drop that in the comments here very soon. It's a free ebook. It's going to give you more strategies on how to sort of yeah, manage your feelings. Okay. So, as I said, I was in education. I was in education for 13 years. I helped students and families navigate, high school in general, navigate their development and their relationships. Okay? Connect with our community and that sort of thing. But what happened was, over time, things changed in our administration, and we had a new administrator, a supervisor who wanted to make changes. And they were significant changes. Okay, like people were being moved, and I'm afraid to say removed. So things were really bubbling up, and it was difficult. And if anybody's coming from education, you know for a fact the last 2 years with COVID, I mean, if that didn't break your back, you survived that, well, you're strong. You're a very strong person. When we all dealt with COVID, and I don't want to trigger anything for anyone, but just to give you an overall experience for many schools, particularly, everybody was impacted, but my experience was in schools. I mean, oh my God, kids were at home trying to learn, right? And they were dealing with everybody else who was at home. Okay, so you all know that. You all know this. And so overcoming that with as much innovation and compassion and understanding on the part of the schools as well as on the part of students and one another. That's what they got through. We made it. Okay, so today they're present. They're in person. Teachers are in person, and we're not doing anything virtual in that sense. But what that did was also in enrich other skills and create other skills within us as teachers and as educators. And we were able to learn how to communicate online, create virtual settings for our students and for our parents. And we had an open house and we had meetings and that sort of thing. So there was definite benefits that came out of the adversity and the challenge of COVID. So like I said, the supervisor came in and wanted to make changes, and I was one other person who was required to completely change my job. And I was blindsided, completely blindsided. And I'm sorry, JD, I didn't have a mastery of those three qualities that I shared with you, the ability to be uncomfortable, how to manage your emotions, and then ultimately to focus, to the point where I was shaken. Yeah. And I came home and I was again, my whole position was revised, and my purpose was changed to that extent. And I had to be there for my family, who it was such an interesting dance and delicate sort of dance between me and my family, because I, of course, was feeling emotional and hurt. And I know they were feeling hurt, on guard, protective of me. And I had to reassure them, right? I had to go from, okay, wait a minute, this really hurt me. I'm suffering, but I don't want three other people, not to mention a few other friends who were with me, to all be impacted by this decision, right? I needed to assure them that I was okay, that I was able to logically look at this situation and provide assurance to them. And have you ever gone through that situation where you actually had to, if you have people relying on you and you're responsible for them? I have a husband and I have two children and I have some really close family and friends that they're looking to you, right? They're thinking in their mind, Mom, are you okay? Right? Are you hurt? Who am I gonna go after for hurting you? Right? And so I had to make sure that, we didn't indulge too long in that kind of talk, even though it is a natural response and I appreciate it because I have just such deep, deep love for my family and they have for me. But I had to redirect and shift that thinking, right? So things changed in my employment. It was a shock. I took it personal for a short period of time. But when I realized I had to reflect quickly that I have to make sure that my family is okay and they're not worried about me. Okay. So I did that conversation, right? I had to take a deep breath, gather perspective. Whenever you go through a challenge like that, try to breathe. Because that ebook that I'm going to give out here is going to show you why that's important. And so you gather perspective, and I asked three critical questions of myself when I was going through it, right? So number one was, right? Thanks, Britt. Okay, sorry. Let me just clap for Brittany here. Britt, affiliate coach, wants to go live together. I would love that. So Britt, do I press this button right here? Oh. Okay. Sorry. I did, Britt. So I don't know what that's gonna do. I would love to do it another time too, if we don't do it today. But I have more messages to share with everyone. So the three critical questions were: Who am I? Okay. Who am I? Um, Remember the person who you are. And that if this challenging situation occurred, that it is outside of you. Okay? So your self worth, your identity should not be impacted negatively by this occurrence, okay? By someone else coming in and making changes around you. Okay, that was the first thing, a critical question I asked myself. Then I had to ask myself, well, who are they? Who is this? Who is this person outside of me or people making changes around me, right? That I have no control over. And what does it really matter to me what they think of me? Okay? Because again, you could take it personal, right? Changes are happening around you at your workplace or even in your social circle. Your friends and your circle could make changes that are out of your hands. Again, you may wonder, why are you doing that? Are you doing that to me? But in the end, no one can really do anything to you, especially in the workplace for that matter. Okay? Nobody can. It's just you, right? They're just making decisions about their work. They may have done it in an impractical way, an unemotional way, an unsupportive way, because that's really what happened. But nonetheless, they did it. And then the third question I've asked myself is, what is really the most important thing to me? Okay, so I felt like my life was shaken up. Um, but what really happened? So how did I assure my family that, hey, I'm okay? Okay, this is how I assured them, because I said, my health is intact. That is the most important thing. I'm not facing a medical emergency or a health emergency. Okay, it's just my job. My relationships are intact, right? I've already talked about my close relationship with my family and my friends. So that's untapped. My ability and potential is untapped, right? Unfaltered. The sky is still the limit, okay? Or even beyond that, right? There is no limit. So my potential and my ability to learn and keep growing is still going. The machine is still turning, despite what an employer might say or do or maneuver or move around, okay? So if you ask those three questions, who am I, right? Who are they, right? Who's that person who did that? Okay? And what is really important to me, to you, when you come across challenges like that? Could you use these questions to help ground you, right? Everyone could face a challenge that is even more extreme than what I just described. Mine was at my job, but others face even tougher life challenges. But and when it's shocking and unexpected, can these questions help to ground you? I hope so. I'm gonna stop here again and look at our comments. Thanks, Britt. No problem. Yeah, but we'll definitely collaborate, Britt. Okay. I so enjoy your account too. Everyone, just go ahead and give Britt dot affiliate coach a shout out, because hey, we can be one big community of helping one another and learning from one another. And like I said, right, my potential is still untapped. Yeah, and so is yours. Okay, I'm just checking more comments. Again, this is a good time to follow my account and join me on this journey. Right? By following our social media, we can see when I have another live coming up or other events. And you engaging in the videos that I post are so helpful, because it kind of leads me in the direction. Like, I have my niche is the financial niche, but I also do health and wellness because I feel they go hand in hand. But if you have questions, from the videos that I've posted, go ahead and put it in there. I can definitely adjust and be flexible to the kind of content that you'd like to see. So once I had that shocking job change, affecting me at work. And after I recovered, I told my family, it's okay, we're going to get through this. Then where did I go? Went right to the social media, social media, social media. And instead of really looking for entertainment or using it as a distraction that I would use because I was so stressed out at work. But anyway, I started to notice, opportunities. I started to really enjoy some of the messages that were coming across. Like many of you, I found out about affiliate marketing. I found out about how social media how we monetize on social media. And I was not, right away interested, but I learned. And as I learned, I took a course, many of you are aware of. And initially, it did not, it has the initials LM, but initially that did not help me as easily. So as you're going to go on your journey, you have to also be just aware of other opportunities. And I came across another mentor that I really enjoy, and I have continued to learn from him. I have lifelong training with him, training meaning mentoring, mentorship. And okay, Britt, thanks so much. So good seeing you here, and we will see each other again in a live. And so the person that I follow with my affiliate marketing uh, career or journey is Anthony Morrison. I've put him up on a couple of my videos. His program is called Partner with Anthony. You're gonna also see that on my Facebook group as well. So when I send out this, I should share it now. I'm gonna see right now how to share my ebook. Okay, don't read it till we're done with the live, but I don't want to miss anybody here. So hang on, I'm gonna copy and paste the ebook. One moment. Don't go anywhere. Copy. Okay, 1 second. Comments. Okay, I pasted it in the comments. All right. That's a flip book, and it's called Reassurance. So I hope Jada is still in here too. Sorry, I want to say your name correctly. Please go into the comments. Oh, I wonder if I can put it in here somewhere. But I'm going to put it again. So, and I'll put it again towards the end. Okay? So everybody who clicks on that can go to the flip book. And I'll put it in my Facebook group as well for the people who maybe watch on replay. So again, as I was scrolling and I became a student of Anthony Morrison, I learned so easily with him. Now, coming from the background of education myself, I understand that a teacher can either make or break the lesson, right? When the student so the other quote is, when the student shows up, the teaching begins, right? So of course I was in the mindset of needing and looking at something because I had gone through my employment situation. But I had learned from another affiliate program, and it didn't resonate with me. And that's okay, because we all learn differently. And so I picked up my program called Partner with Anthony Morrison, and that was phenomenal. Now, from that learning, he provides a number of other opportunities to learn about monetizing social media, email marketing, affiliate marketing, and I talk about that a lot in my account now. And he's introduced me to and the students to this new opportunity. It's still there in the video, so please go ahead and check it out. In subsequent lives, I'm gonna go dive deeper into maybe what those monetizing opportunities are. and how important it is for you to really have they talk about it a lot, have the mindset. There's a certain number of steps you take before creating your online business. And once you do that, then you have set up things. You have a foundation that you're sort of on with your online business. But I shared my story here today really because I hope it helps. I hope I helped JD fan there with her questions. That's what I do. I have done it for years. I'm also sort of that friend in my friend group that I provide reassurance, I offer help. I receive help from my friends too, but I can kind of navigate a problem that maybe my friend is having, and I can kind of help her or him sort of come to a good solution that comes from within. Yeah, it really comes from them. So I find that I'm able to do that a lot for friends. And I'm hoping that my story here today just kind of helped you see that you can overcome challenges, and that really there is no person outside really impacting you. It's just you, right? You have your soul, your spirit, your body, and there's events going on around you. And oftentimes, because we have emotions, we get charged by certain things we see out and about and around us. Um, in the end, though, if you look at that flip book that I put in the comments too, there's ways that you can kind of manage your emotions and continue to improve your mindset so that you can overcome some of these challenges, right? Go ahead and put a comment in here. I'm going to be here another 10 minutes. If there's any questions you want me to answer, I'd be happy to. Again, I'm going to be here again Wednesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern, and chat up on different topics that you want to hear about. Again, I'm Ilima Hong. I'm Ilima Passive Income Friend. I talk about passive income. There's various methods to earn passive income to ultimately create financial freedom. But I also incorporate positive mindset because I believe that your mental and emotional wellness has to be a priority too, not just making money. And I also found, even in my years of experience in human resources and in education, that when you come from the standpoint of helping others, okay, you're there to help, you're there to offer information, share advice, or even just be a listener, be a friend to someone, that if you are in the business of making money, if there is a service or a product that you sell, people will buy it. Okay, they're buying it because the product or the service is reputable. It can solve a problem of theirs, but they're also buying it because they trust you, right? They've come to know you through social media, and they've come to trust that okay, if she's doing it, okay, this might work out for me too. She's understood my problems and my challenges, and therefore we can collaborate. Okay, so I'm gonna just check messages again here. Oh, thanks, Britt. Great perspective. Love these questions. Always great to think about, right? I've already put the flip book in the comments. Can you all just kind of go through the comments and see if you can click on that link? Because that's going to be your free flip book. It's called Reassurance. And it's called Reassurance so that you can have some strategies to calm yourself if you're in a stressful situation. Hi, Andre Robinson. Hey there. We had a lot we've talked about here. Hi, Caitlin. So I shared just sort of a quick review I shared three things. I shared my story, who I am, and what my account is about. I've asked you all to follow so that we can stay in touch and we can do this live every Wednesday at this time. It's 2 p.m. Eastern. And I shared three qualities that we found very evident in successful people. And those three qualities were: one, being able to be uncomfortable or to stick with something; number two, being able to manage your emotions, right? To be able to make decisions with logic, but understanding that emotions are within you and they become, you let them through and you're still able to make decisions with logic. And then number three is being able to focus, right? Sticking to a task, but focusing, not getting distracted, not overusing social media, being able to start something and finish something, staying focused. Those are the three things. And then I talked about my journey on how I even started to do an online business where I learned, after so many years in a profession, I learned that my supervisor was going to change my role and my purpose without my input whatsoever. And so what that did was I had to just sort of look within, right? And I made sure that I did the three things. I asked, who am I? Okay, when I went through this challenge, who am I? What am I made of? And I determined that, hey, I have this potential. No one's taken that away. Even though my job changed, it was abrupt, I had no input into it whatsoever. It was an exterior decision. I had to know that inside I was intact. Okay. And number two, the second question I asked, well, who are they? Because whenever you're faced with a challenge and somebody, might come around and make changes around you, this could be in work and this can be in your social circle too. They make changes. Okay, well, who are they? Why does it matter to you what they think of you, right? Because you've already determined in question number one who you are. Then question number three is, what does it affect, right? So who am I, who are they, and what does it affect? Me, more importantly, what is most important to me? So when you come down to what's most important to me at that time, it was my health that was intact, or I was healthy enough at the time. My relationships, they were intact. Even though things were changing around me and I felt that it was negative, I was able to look around and realize that I'm healthy and I have very strong relationships, and that's all that matters. So when you can kind of do a quick check with those three questions whenever you run into a challenge, I hope it sort of grounds you to put things in perspective so that you can continue, right? We don't want that any sort of challenges to completely wipe you out, right? And have you just be unfunctioning, unable to cope with the world outside or anything like that. So I hope that helped. Okay. I'd really like you to follow me, give me a like on TikTok and on Facebook. Go ahead and watch the replay of this video. Find me in Facebook also at Ilima Hong. That's my page. And my links are also in the flip book that I've put in the comments. So I'm going to do that one more time. It's a free book for you to use. It's a free book for you to see strategies. Okay? Strategies on how to cope with challenges. I mentioned that my focus here in my social media is to share methods for passive income and then methods for balancing your health and wellness, mental and physical health to create wellness. And in order for you, when you have that in place, along with methods to earn extra income to create financial security in the future, then you can have real balance and you can find yourself happy and accepting of what you have, and maybe striving for something better. But now you have the methods, the passive income methods to implement. Let me look.